Welcome, everybody. I'm Marc David, founder of the Institute for the Psychology of Eating. We're in the Psychology of Eating podcast, and I'm with Daniela today. Welcome, Daniela.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks for being here. So for those people who are new to the podcast, here's how it works. Daniela and I are having a first session ever, and the idea is to help move you forward, Daniela, in anything that you want around food and body. So if you could wave your magic wand and get whatever you wanted with food and body, what would that be for you?
I would like to understand better my relationship with food, especially because I know that I'm not having the healthiest habits regarding food and exercise. And I know that could be bad for my health, but it's really hard for me to change that. So if you can give me some advice, something that will help me with that, I will be really, really happy.
So you want to change your habits and just have healthier habits when it comes to food and exercise?
Yes.
So if you were able to change your habits, let's say you could just automatically do it, how do you imagine that would look for you if you were having good habits?
I would imagine myself doing exercise almost every day and enjoying it, because even though I try and I do it sometimes, I don't necessarily enjoy the exercise. So I would see myself loving my exercise and making better choices when it comes to food.
Mm-hmm. So what are the choices that you make that don't feel like they're such good habits?
Well, first of all, I love frappuccinos. So I constantly, like maybe twice or 3 times a week, I go have one. And I love sodas. So almost every day I have the tiniest can I can find, but I do have one a day, 1 cup of soda. So I think those would be like my major challenges, and just adding more veggies and finding better recipes. And I think that's in a path that I'm going, but I can definitely do it better.
Mm-hmm. And where are you at with your weight? Are you wanting to lose weight?
I would like to lose weight, definitely. And not necessarily because the way that I look, but because I know that the way that I am now could be a risk for my health.
Mm-hmm. And so how much weight would you want to lose?
I would say somewhere around 30 pounds or so.
Mm-hmm. And has there been a time in the recent past when you were 30 pounds less?
There was, when I was a child, I was really thin. I started gaining weight around 16, 18. And then it's been a constantly weight gaining. However, I've always felt fat. I always felt big. When I see pictures of myself when I was 20, 22, I'm like, I wasn't fat. And if I was that weight right now, I would feel with more energy and feel healthier. However, I've never experienced feeling good in my body. I don't know if I'm being clear.
Sure. How old are you, Daniela?
I'm 38.
38. And we were chatting right before we started. You're in Mexico.
I am, yes.
So born and raised.
Yes, completely Mexican.
So how's the diet for the rest of your family?
Well, when I was a child, the food was really restricted at home, because my dad and his family, they are overweight. My dad right now, he's not overweight, but his family is, and he was, and he's also diabetic, and also pretty much all of her brothers and sisters. So the diet in my house was really restricted. Like my mom always, cooked healthy food and never let us have chocolates and candy and all that. And when I got married, or when I grew up a little bit more, I started including those things in my diet. Here in my house, because now I'm married, I try to cook healthy for the family, but I definitely allow my children to have candy and the things that they like they are here in the house and they can have them.
Mhm. How many kids do you have?
I have two.
How old?
The girl is 10 and the boy is 7.
All right, that's so sweet. So, are you working these days?
I am. I have a practice. So because I'm a psychologist, so I don't have as many patients because I try to focus more on my house and my children. But whenever, for example, they are at school, I try to squeeze in a little of appointments so I can keep working and keep
Mhm.
busy.
So, if you were being your psychologist, if I was you right now, what would I be telling you? If I was if you were being your psychologist, what would you be telling yourself?
I would say that my relationship with food has never been good, not even when I was a children and a child, sorry. And that maybe I am like a rebel right now, like now I am allowed to eat whatever I want. So I just do it, not seeing that it's something that's gonna, like not help me get where I want to go.
Mhm. Funny you should say that because that's part of what I would have guessed for you. That if you grew up, sometimes when we grow up with restriction around food, as soon as we're able, we do what we want to do. And we do what we want to do because that's kind of natural. Anytime somebody says, don't eat that, first thing we're thinking is, I want to eat that. Like, why is that forbidden? The story of Adam and Eve, it's all about don't eat the apple. And of course, the first thing they do is they eat the apple.
Yes.
It was a very simple rule, and apparently the only rule that they had to follow. So I think there's something about just the human mind that's built in, and part of it's a curiosity, because for you and I to survive, for our ancestors to have survived in their early environment, you need to explore everything. You need to know all about nature. You need to know what are the dangerous animals, what are the safe ones, what are the dangerous foods, and what are the safe ones? Which foods are poisonous? Which ones taste nice? So we have a natural urge to want to understand our environment. And we also have a natural urge to explore the forbidden.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever somebody's saying something's forbidden, we smile, we're interested. Like, why is that forbidden? Maybe I should be doing it. And there's something alluring about that. There's something interesting about it. So to me, instead of saying you've never had a good relationship with food or body, let's say that you're learning how to have a better and better relationship with food and body. Because all things considered, your relationship with food is not so bad. When you tell me, oh, I have a frappuccino 3 times a week and I have a small can of soda every day. There's lots of people who wish that they could be like that would be their worst habit when it comes to food.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yes, you also want to make healthy choices. And I think part of that is really you making the choice to step more into your adult mind, your queen's mind, your mother's mind when it comes to food and body. Because right now, it's almost as if you're being the child who lives in your parents' house and they're not home, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna eat whatever I want to eat because mom and dad aren't here. So there's a part of you that's, even though you don't live with your parents, it's almost like you're being a bad girl.
Yes.
And your parents are out
Mhm.
and you're eating what you want to eat.
But I'm still living there.
Yes. So a part of you is still living there. So yes, this is just, to me, I'm always looking at it that our relationship with food and body is just a great teacher. It's here to teach us. So I'm asking the question, what's Daniela's relationship with food and body trying to teach her? And you already know the answer. It's teaching you to make choices that are longer lasting, choices that aren't based on immediate gratification.
Yes.
Because the infant in us, the child in us, wants immediate gratification. This tastes good, I'm going to eat it. And a 4-year-old doesn't understand the concept of, no, you can't eat this every day because it might give you diabetes 30 years down the road. A kid can't hear that. They don't think about the future. They're very much in the present. So what I hear you saying is that you're really wanting to think towards the future. I want to think about my health.
Yes.
Because there's certain medical condition that runs in my family. So I'm aware of that and I want to act on it. And there's a part of you that can't.
Yes, totally.
And the part of you that can't act on it is, I'm going to say, it's that 15 or 16-year-old girl in you that all of a sudden, hey, I could do what I want. So it's not making her wrong. It's not that there's something wrong with that voice. There's everything right with that voice, because the rebel in us, it gives us our courage. The rebel in us makes us try new things and do new things. And the rebel in us breaks rules that maybe don't work so well. So the rebel in us isn't bad. It's just, are we using that voice or that personality to our advantage or to our disadvantage? So you want to use that rebel to your advantage. So part of it is understanding that, yeah, you have a little bit of a rebellious nature. How else can you express that part of you other than with food? And you might not have an easy answer for that question, but the thing to realize is that voice isn't wrong. It's not like you're trying to beat it up or hit it with a stick. It's just that we don't want that voice making all the decisions when it comes to food. So when you say, I've never felt good in my body, that to me that's important. That's an important place to start. Because I think a lot of people have that challenge where they just never learned how to feel good in their body. Or there might have been a time when you felt good in your body, but you were very young and you don't remember.
Yes.
And at some point, we start comparing ourselves, or we look at the movies or the TV or social media. And like you said, you thought you were too big. And then you look at pictures of yourself and you think, wow, what was I thinking? So I would want you to ask yourself the question, what are the things that I can start doing in my life that are easy to do, that help me feel good about being in my body? Baby steps. So you're not going to do exercise that you don't like. Right now, that's probably not going to happen, because doesn't feel good to you.
Mhm.
So what kind of ways of moving do make you feel good? Is there anything that when you do it, it just makes you feel good?
Yes, I love ice skating, and I was good at it when I was young. I've tried it. I can still do it. I just cannot do the spins and the jumps and all that stuff, but I can move well on the ice. And I have been curious about doing Pilates.
Mm. Pilates is wonderful. First of all, ice skating, that's so amazing. I think you're the first person I've heard say that in forever.
Okay.
I was so terrible at ice skating when I was young. I haven't ice skated in years. Yeah, Pilates, if there's a studio near you, that's such a great way to get in your body. It's very specific. It can be very challenging. You can feel really good after a Pilates session, and you work your muscles and your body in ways that you never have. So I like the idea of you exploring new ways to move that you haven't done before, because it's all about finding what works.
Mhm.
And finding what works, and then you start to do it. So if you can ice skate once a week or even once every 2 weeks, at least that's something, oh, I'm enjoying moving my body. And if you like Pilates and you could do that once a week or twice a week, then all of a sudden you have some momentum.
Mhm. Yes.
But I think it's helping yourself get out of the old habit called, I don't feel good about being in my body, and start to look for ways where you can feel good.
Okay.
Because I think what I've noticed is that ultimately, if we're not feeling good about being in our body, it's going to be easier to want to turn to food, because food makes us feel better.
Mhm.
So if I don't like my body, if I think I should weigh less, if I criticize myself, or if I just don't feel good about being in my body, then we're going to look for ways to feel good. And food is one of the ways we're going to look to feel good. So I think you're learning how to create new habits for yourself and new strategies just by exploring.
Okay.
How does this sound to you so far? How does this land for you?
I think it sounds, like I feel excited about doing that, about, because I do go ice skating, but I do it once a month or even more time between one and another. So I think I can commit myself to do that for me, just for me, going to the ice rink and skate once a week, and also go to the studio and try it. I've been curious about it. Well, try it. And it doesn't sound, like I have to do exercise every day. And for example, if you tell me go and run, I hate running. So, I think that sounds something like doable.
Yes. So that's what I'm interested in for you, is finding something that, oh, this feels nice. I like this. I can do this. And that begins to build some momentum. Because I think when it comes to being in our body and moving our body, when I say moving our body, I'm also talking about exercise, but it just, a lot of people have a negative association with the word exercise, because it almost sounds like punishment. You have to do this. You ate food, you better exercise, or you need to lose weight, you better do this thing that you don't like to do. And the only way to feel good about being in your body is to do things that help you feel good about being in your body. It's the only way.
Yes.
And to practice them and to feel that feeling more and more, because then you're going to want to take care of yourself more. When you start doing things on a regular basis that help you feel good about being in your body, it's going to be easier for you to make better choices around food. So what I don't want you to do is to say, I have to eliminate all the frappuccinos and all the soda. I don't think that's so much what you need to focus on. I'd rather you focus on what can you do about moving your body that feels good.
Okay.
Start there.
Okay.
And when you're making choices about what to eat, really check in with yourself and say, what does the mother in me, what is the queen in me, what is the adult in me think is the right thing for me to eat right now? If the woman in me was making the choice, not the child in me, but the woman in me is making the choice, what would she choose? Understanding that if you want to have soda, if you want to have a frappuccino, if you want to have candy, that's okay. Instead of making those wrong and trying to resist those, I'm more interested in you focusing on listening to that adult voice in you and giving that adult voice in you more, give her more respect.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is not just for you, this is also for your kids. Because our children, they tend to model after us. You can tell them what to do, but they don't necessarily care what you told them. They're gonna look at how you behave.
Yes.
So this is a good time for you. And it's also, you know, I don't know if this is true for you, but there might be a part of you that because your eating was being restricted when you were young, you don't want to do that for you and you don't want to do that for your children. You want to do something different. I don't want to restrict myself or my family. Do you think that's happening for you in any way?
Yes, it is. I do try to, for example, here cook healthy food, but if they want an ice cream, I'm like, okay, let's get an ice cream because it's a Sunday, because we're outside, because we're having fun. Just let's have an ice cream, and I don't make a big deal out of it. But yes, and for example, if we go to the supermarket and they're like, Mom, can we have some chips or can we have some cookies? I'm like, yes, let's buy them. And that's making my children not being so obsessed about candies.
Yeah.
For example, right now, Halloween is coming and they go trick or treat and they have these really big bags full of candy. And I can tell you, if I could find last year's bag and they are full because they have one or two and, you know, they keep playing. They're not so obsessed because they know they can have them.
Yes. So that's great. So same for you, meaning you don't have to obsess about it because you know you can have it. You know you can eat whatever you want to eat. So part of it is you remembering that you're an adult and you can eat whatever you want whenever you want to.
Yes.
And you don't have to live in reaction anymore to your upbringing. So yeah, I can eat whatever I want whenever I want to eat it. And, you know, something that's not going to always be the most healthy thing for me, because I might choose to eat ice cream all day for every meal, and that's not going to work. So you're inventing a new you. And it's not easy at first. It's just not easy. So to me, when you're inventing a new you, we take baby steps. Okay. So the baby steps, more ice skating, try Pilates. What else, when it comes to any kind of movement, are you attracted to?
I used to go to it's called step. It's like a gymnastics class when you go up and down this like step.
Yeah.
And I used to like that class and I was good at it.
Do they play music?
Yes.
Yeah. Anything you could do where there's music to make it fun, I think that's a great idea. And always, 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 when you're doing something like that, sure, you're getting the benefits of exercise. You know that this can maybe help me lose weight, but you're doing it to feel good in your body. That's the ultimate reason. You're doing it to feel good in your body. And I think what happens, I think humans naturally like to move. Most creatures in nature, they naturally like to move. They're moving. Animals are always moving. And we live in houses and we sit in chairs and we're at desks and we're doing a lot of work and we're in front of a computer. And for a lot of people, it's hard to get the body moving after that. So there is a certain kind of effort sometimes. There's a certain kind of pushing through the inertia.
Mm-hmm.
And it's reminding yourself there's going to be a good benefit on the other side of this. Because, yeah, there's going to be times when you want to go to the Pilates class, but you don't really feel like it.
Yes.
And those are the times when it's helpful to have some way to inspire yourself to make that choice. Maybe you tell your husband, like he's your support system. He's your buddy, your friend, and you let him know, I want to be moving my body more, and I want to try to do Pilates once or twice a week, or whatever you're going to do. Let him know that and ask him to remind you.
Mm-hmm.
Just as a way to support you. So any way you can get support.
Okay.
In making good decisions for yourself. So it's not just you by yourself trying to gather up all your energy.
Okay. Okay.
You could even tell your kids. You can have your kids be your support system. Mommy has decided that she really wants to move her body more so I can be healthier, so I can make sure that I live to be a nice old age, and I can see when I have my grandchildren. So I want to be healthy, and that means I want to exercise. So I want you to make sure that you remind me, or whatever you say to them.
Okay.
Because a lot of times kids really enjoy something like that, like, oh, I get to help mommy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you're teaching them a healthy habit. You're showing them, like, I'm making the effort and I'm creating support for myself.
Okay.
Anything else that you haven't mentioned yet? So you talked about the step class. Any other ways that you like to move?
I don't know. I have to admit, I'm not a big fan of movement and exercise. For example, everything that involves a ball, I don't like those sports.
Yeah.
And for example, running and this like excessive exercise also don't feel so good. I'm thinking about swimming.
Mm-hmm. See, that's perfect. You understand what you like, you know what you don't like, and that's totally fine. Running is not for everybody. Too many people run and they're just not built for it. They don't have the right body for it. They don't have the right temperament for it. For a lot of people, running is punishment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course, there's plenty of people who love it. So it's all about you feeling good in your body and finding new ways to feel good in your body. And it's good to mix it up a little bit so you have
Okay.
choices and you have options. Is there any way you can enroll your husband in helping you make good choices around food?
I don't know. I mean, he eats healthy. He's whenever he says, for example, he goes every single morning to the gym and he does his exercise and he always tries to eat healthier. But I think the part of me that reminds me of my mother telling me, no, you shouldn't be eating that, or you should eat that, I don't take it really well when my husband tell me, for example, seriously, are you gonna have your frappuccino today? So I don't take it really well, but I think it's me and my story with food.
Yes. So what you can do, if he's willing and able to do this, is instead of him, you can coach him and say, honey, instead of you saying, oh, you're going to eat that again, or oh, that's bad for you, have him state it in the positive. Like, honey, are you choosing vegetables today? Are you choosing a healthy meal today? What are you going to have for snack or dinner or whatever it is? So to have him state it in the positive and to ask him, do me a favor. I have a negative association when somebody tells me, oh God, you're going to eat that. So that doesn't inspire me. That doesn't help me. Nothing that you're doing wrong, husband. But it just reminds me of my mother, reminds me of my childhood. And I more respond to positive messages.
Okay.
Because it's about you creating support that works for you.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, people criticizing you doesn't work. That's fine. I get it. I would rather somebody give me positive reinforcement than criticize me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I'm a little focused on you getting your family involved somehow and understanding that this is what you want to do for yourself and you're wanting support, because then you're creating in a way the family environment around food and health and exercise that you might have wished you had as a child. That maybe if you could go back in time and have your parents do it different, this is what you would have created.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's not that your mom or your dad did anything wrong. They were just doing the best that they knew how.
Yes.
And you've learned from that now. So you now have the opportunity to really step into being the matriarch, the woman of the household, the queen of the household. And in order to do that, the voice inside of the little girl who just goes, I want to eat something fun whenever I want it. You have to really notice that voice, because you can't be 15 years old inside yourself and successfully raise children or have a good marriage. You have to be the 38-year-old inside you.
Yes.
To be a good mother, to be a good psychologist, to have a good relationship. So same with your relationship with food and body.
Yes.
How is all this landing for you?
That's making a lot of sense, connecting with this little girl of 15, 16 years old who's rebelling, and as you said, not telling her you're wrong or you shouldn't do that, just listening to her, but stepping up for her. I think, for example, one of the good things of this rebel girl is that she's not longer following in my mom's family. There's been always this obsession about how you look and how much you weigh, and I'm really happy that I totally closed that for me and for my daughter. I don't allow anybody talking about how she looks and if she's thin or she's fat. I'm not even giving importance to those type of things. So I'm happy, and I think I can use that voice to be the rebel in that, but not exactly in, I'm gonna eat whatever I want because I can.
Mhm. Perfecto. That's exactly what I'm saying. So I think you have the tools, you have the awareness, you have the knowledge that you need. And it's just a question of putting it into practice, and just know that it's not always going to look perfect.
Mhm.
There's still going to be moments where you're going to make choices with food that you wish you didn't. And then your job is to just forgive yourself
Mhm.
and start over. But what you're doing in the bigger picture is you're training yourself, you're learning how to feel good in your body
Mhm.
by moving your body in ways that feel good to you. Doesn't matter how many calories you think it burns, no, it doesn't matter. It has to make you smile at some point. The exercise, the movement has to make you smile. If it's making you smile at some point, then it's good for you.
Mhm.
And to also notice, what are the other ways that you feel good about being in your body?
I think it's when I take care of myself, just getting my nails done or getting a nice haircut or buying clothes that fit. Because sometimes I'm like, this doesn't, I have to push it and I have to wear these jeans, for example. So just letting them go and buying clothes that fit, I think that's also something that makes me feel good.
That's so wonderful. I love that. Anything that helps you feel good about being in your body, especially self-care, beauty care, that's part of having a body. You feel good about it. And the more you do good things for yourself, the more you're going to want to do good things for yourself.
Mhm.
So that to me is what you're learning how to do better and better.
Great.
So has this been a helpful conversation for you, Daniela?
It has. It really has. Just giving that little girl the voice, but not making her wrong, but not necessarily listening to her all the time. I think that's the biggest part that I'm taking away. And not seeing exercise as something that I have to do every day, and even if I hate it, I have to do it, just looking for, as you said, baby steps.
Yes. Yes. You got it. I think you're going to be successful at this, and you're going to just learn how to make it enjoyable for you, so it fits into your flow and it fits into your lifestyle, your lifestyle, just as a mother, as a wife, as a professional. You find ways to fit it in so it's part of your life, but it's not like hanging over you.
Yes.
Well, I'm so happy we've had this conversation.
I'm so happy to. Thank you so much, Mark, for your time and for your sharing your wisdom.
Thank you, Daniela. And thanks everybody for tuning in. Take care, my friends.
Hey friends, we're so happy that you've joined us for another episode of The Psychology of Eating with Marc David. Are you loving these episodes? Then simply subscribe and you'll never miss an episode again. We'd also love it if you'd leave us a comment below so we can hear more about your own journey with food and body. And if you're curious about what we offer at the Institute for the Psychology of Eating, including our internationally acclaimed coach certification training that's rooted in dynamic eating psychology and mind-body nutrition, please head on over to our website, psychologyofeating.com. Until next time, take care, and remember, having the body you want starts with loving the body you have.